Hello, everyone, and welcome to Feedstuffs 365. I'm Sarah Muirhead. Yesterday, here on Feedstuffs 365, we talked about research related to laying hen housing. Today, we continue our theme about poultry, but we're going to talk turkeys. Joining us to do just that is Gretta Irwin and Dawn Coltis. Greta is the executive director of Iowa Turkey Federation and the Iowa Turkey Marketing Council, and Dawn is assistant professor of animal science from the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences at Iowa State University. Welcome to you both. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Glad to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Greta, let's start with you. Give us just a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I am the executive director and home economist for the Iowa Turkey Federation. I've had the privilege of serving in this role for about 27 years, and I basically work with the turkey farmers and helping them achieve their goals and address their needs in the turkey industry in Iowa.
And Dawn, what about you?
I am an assistant professor here at Iowa State University. I joined the staff about 5 years ago and recently moved into an assistant professor position. But one of my passions is engaging students and getting them engaged in a lifelong career, which I think poultry is a great career for that. So I guess I tend to be biased and push them more towards poultry.
Well, and you guys had a big event there this week on campus. I think it was on Monday. There was an open house for Iowa State's new turkey teaching and research facility. So I want to talk about that here today because that is a pretty big deal. And Dawn, I think it plays into the whole development of future leadership for the poultry industry as well. Greta, if you don't mind, I'd like to have you just give us some background on the facility, if you would, and why. Why is it important to the industry?
Well, Iowa turkey farmers share their concerns and ideas with me in my job and in my role. And so for many, many years, we've discussed the need for better knowledge to care for our turkeys. How do we get the answers we need to raise better turkeys, to feed turkeys better, to just address the needs that consumers have on our turkeys and how they're raised? So a group of farmers got together and said, we need to do something about this. We felt there really was not a good place to do good basic research on turkeys. And the turkey farmers in Iowa stepped up to the plate. They helped fundraise the dollars. And we've raised over $2 million through independent funding. There's no state dollars that went into this facility. And we partnered with Iowa State because when we started thinking about turkey research and who did we want to partner with, who had the skills and the staffing and the people and the structure to meet the needs that we had, Iowa State was a quick answer for us. We are based in Ames, Iowa, so it's easy too since we're right here close to campus. But the collaboration, the partnership has really been wonderful. And so Monday's dedication really was a celebration of I'd say over 10 years of work and discussions and really bringing to fruition an actual building and facility to do this research.
Well, that's really something for Iowa. Not that Iowa isn't big in turkey production, but it's not the number one state in turkey production. So kind of put that in perspective for us, if you would, Greta.
Well, Iowa really is in the middle of all of the turkey production. So in some ways, it makes a lot of sense. Minnesota's number 1, Missouri's number 5, Iowa's number 7. And so when we look at that ability to bring in farmers, bring in our partners, and then bring in the allied industry. So who are those companies that are supporting the turkey industry, maybe providing new and innovative feed ingredients or ventilations or technologies? A lot of that is coming from the Midwest. And Iowa State and Ames makes good sense to be the center of that partnership.
So the facility is named after an industry pioneer. Is that correct? And Dawn, can you give us a little bit of background on that person?
So the facility is named after Dr. Stanley L. who was a faculty member here at Iowa State. One of his major contributions, not only to the turkey industry, but to the poultry industry, was the incorporation of soybean meal into poultry diets. And this allowed for a different feedstuffs to be utilized. Prior to this, as we were kind of looking through the history of what was utilized, a lot of it had to be fish meal, and there was whey and alfalfa and other items that some of them aren't kind of a natural ingredient, if you will, here in the state of Iowa. So being able to use and incorporate something such as soybean and soybean meal into those diets has been very beneficial to the industry and to a lot of other industries as well.
I believe Iowa State, I think I have this right, also has a fairly new poultry research farm. Is that correct? So I'm curious how the poultry teaching and research farm is going to pair or work with perhaps the turkey research facility that's in the process of being brought on board. Is there going to be a collaboration, or what kind of overlap, or are they going to operate fairly separately? Does any insight on that, Dawn?
Well, from a standpoint of research, they'll kind of be operated very independently. We do need to kind of keep some lines of separation because these are different species and we don't want to cross any biosecurity lines. However, when it comes to teaching, it's an amazing tool to be able to show students laying hens, broilers, and turkeys all within about 10 minutes of campus. So being able to take our Animal Science 101 classes and 114 classes out to this facility and in 5 minutes show them a little bit more of the breadth of poultry is an amazing opportunity, amazing learning opportunity. And then giving those hands-on experience to students that really want to dive deeper into a specific species as well. It's going to be amazing.
So Gretta, I'm going to put you on the spot. When it comes to the turkey industry, what would you say are the top 3 research needs of today's commercial turkey industry?
Well, a lot of my farmers talk about how has the turkey changed, because we know genetics has changed over the time period of 30, 40, 50 years ago. So how do we feed the turkeys to have utmost performance? Because as most of us know, we do not use hormones or steroids in turkey production. It's feeding them good quality feed, getting them the right diets and the nutritional needs that they need as they grow. So continuing to work on that need for the turkey. Also, how do we keep the environment the best that it can be for the turkeys? On a hot, steamy day like today, obviously being outdoors would be the best option for the turkeys. But being indoors, what are better ways we can do ventilations or misting of the turkeys to help take away some of that stress of the humidity? Those are types of questions farmers are dealing with, like on today and on a fairly regular basis on a hot, steamy summer day in Iowa. So we're continuing to look at water quality and ways to better feed the turkeys and deliver whatever nutrients they need and any other healthcare options. So how does water fit into that? And are there ways that we can incorporate some of those needs into water systems? This new research facility is going to help address all those types of questions that our farmers have in all those different segments of that turkey production.
Will it be an industry collaboration when it comes to where perhaps we should focus the research, or is that something that's going to depend on if a company comes in and wants certain research conducted, or is kind of a combination of all that?
I think I'll start answering that question because it will be a little bit from a research committee that we have here for the Iowa Turkey Federation. We're scheduled now to at least meet twice a year, but then we will collaborate and work with Dr. Coltis and the other researchers at the facility. We have a young student that is a recent graduate. I shouldn't say he's not a student, he's a graduate that will be running our turkey facility. We'll work with Tanner on that as well. And then Dawn, maybe you can address a little bit of how that process will work for you and your fellow researchers at Iowa State University.
Right. So in general, as we look at approaching research topics, it's kind of an interest and an expertise. I am someone who looks at gut health, and so by that, host microbe interactions. And so I wouldn't be taking on a ventilation trial, but I could work with collaborators or there are collaborators here at Iowa State University that would be interested in doing those ventilation trials. So it's all about finding the right connection and the right researcher to interact with and engage with. And then once those interactions are made, then it's kind of moving forward at scheduling and working through some of the other systems that we have to deal with research. So,
well, Dawn, you mentioned students and then the learning and the teaching component of the facility. So how exactly are students going to be engaged in the facility, and what do they stand to get out of this? Are they going to be actually in there working with the birds and conducting some of that research, or just give us kind of frame that up for us, if you would, please.
I will. So there's several ways that we see students engaging and interacting with the facility. The first is less hands-on experience. the Iowa Turkey Federation has done a marvelous job of creating this public vestibule that provides some very general information about turkey production. Within that, they have essentially, there are some these large windows that will allow students and even the public to come in and view turkey production as it's happening without being inside the pens or inside the barn with the birds. So this will kind of allow for a lot of engagement and just basic understanding of what does turkey production look like. Outside of that, absolutely, we plan on having students inside the barns that are interested, helping to conduct research at the undergraduate level, at the graduate level, and then helping with daily care and chores of those birds as well.
So Greta, it was mentioned this public viewing area that you folks were instrumental in putting in. Is it something that we can find other places in the nation, or is this kind of one of its kind?
To my knowledge, this is really the first of its kind. And I think it's a really great asset that we're seeing in all of the research facilities at Iowa State. So you're able to also see the egg facility, and you can see cage and cage-free egg production at that facility in their viewing vestibule. The dairy farm allows people to go in and see dairy cows being milked. The pork industry is working on getting a facility up to do the same. And then the new feed mill coming on, I think we'll have some components that way as well. So it's really an emphasis that the university has had and is carrying forward in all of our facilities that are open to the public, and they can see what we're doing and ask questions.
So I would be remiss, of course, if not saying where are we at on the new feed mill, and what's how might that actually play into the new facilities that are on campus?
Dawn, do you want to answer that with the university?
Sure. So with the feed mill, we are set to, I think, have an opening sometime later in 2023, if not early 2024. As you can imagine, that with all of the supply chain issues, we're not special in that regard. So sometimes we run into those bumps as well. But this facility will be instrumental to help out with feeding the turkey facility as well as some of the other facilities on campus. The new feed mill will allow for us to make research diets that can then be delivered. Because of the number of turkeys that we'll have in the facility, it's not quite commercial setting. So there's fewer turkeys than that. And then making these smaller research diets become a little bit more painful for our co-ops. So allowing and having this feed mill will allow us to do that and produce our own feed without detrimenting or harming some of our other feed mills around the area.
And the new facility is going to stay away from any kind of infectious disease type work, right? Is that because it's kind of so public and you'll have students in and out? Is that the thinking there? Or there's other facilities are dedicated to that kind of work and just leave it there?
There are other facilities that are dedicated to doing infectious disease work. When we think about infectious disease, we also think about it from a zoonotic standpoint. So infectious to students, to workers. And so we like to have those in very controlled environments. And so we have specific facilities that are set up to do that. So that's why we won't be doing it at this big facility.
And now the ground was broken, I think it was last April, on the turkey teaching and research facility. You're putting birds in when? A little later this year? And you had the grand opening, of course, here just this week. Is that right on the timing? Do I have that, Dawn?
Yes. So the hope is that we will have them in close to the end of the summer and about the time students come back.
So if there's an industry partner that wants to start, hey, let's talk about some research that we need to have done, say it's in feed additives or ventilation or whatever really that would apply to turkeys, who should they turn to kind of explore those options and see what how to proceed? Is that something that worked through you, Dawn, or through Greta, or kind of both? We talked about some committees and things too.
Right. So either Greta or I would be a great option. And if it is inside a wheelhouse, we can certainly take that on. If it is outside of that wheelhouse, then definitely putting you in the right contacts in terms of providing who that is or forwarding that information along to them. So we would definitely both be very, very useful resources for that.
Anything to add to that, Greta?
Yeah, I mean, that's really what we need is just folks coming up with ideas, and we will partner it with the university staff and there's so many different areas we can look at, because we'll be placing the poults at a day old, and they will be going through one of our state processing plants. So if you think about the components to production of a turkey, there's somebody at Iowa State that can address those issues or questions. So if it's the manure and there's a question on manure, we can do that. If it's specifically in production or processing and some of those types of things, I mean, we have all these stop points along the way that we can do some measurements and do some research on. And so I want people to think the sky's the limit, and I think we're all ready for those challenges, and let's see how we can address some of those questions that are out there, and challenge this facility and challenge this faculty and the diversity of the folks that we have on campus, because we have the vets in the vet college. We have folks at the National Animal Disease Center that we work with. Quite a few of them were there Monday at the open house. We see there's a lot of opportunities for partners and to have some collaborations with Dr. Coltis and the other staff that are at the university. And so I look forward to just seeing where folks take us and the questions that we need answered.
And this is the only facility of its kind that's located on a major university. Is that so?
Yeah, we think that this has the best facilities. The amount of turkeys, we'll be able to put about 1,600 turkeys in a facility. And so the scope of the research, the amount of trials that can be done, and the replications are really not duplicated anywhere else that we're aware of. And so when people have talked to us about this facility, they're thinking even globally, there's not another opportunity to do this type of turkey research anywhere else in the world. And so we're looking forward to that opportunity to do that.
Yeah, all right there in Ames. So Gretta Irwin, Iowa Turkey Federation, Don Coltis of Iowa State University, thank you so much for being with us today. As I'm sure you will keep us posted on any kind of new developments or any big research coming out of the new facility. Good luck with that. And of course, we all look forward to the future industry leadership that the facility will likely bring forward. So thank you again. For all of you out there, we thank you for tuning in today as well. A reminder that all Feedstuffs 365 sessions are available on demand on feedstuffs365.com. At the same site, you can see what our upcoming sessions are, and you can also access our new dynamic digital issues of Feedstuffs. Until next time, for Feedstuffs 365, I'm Sarah Muirhead.